CataractCoach.com, defining and measuring success. I spent so many years not fully understanding this. Recently, on our very first podcast with Dr. Osher, we talked about various things in achievement and success in life and what actually mattered. And yes, it's true, your parameters, the way you define success, is going to change throughout life. This is a common thing. In Dr. Osher's book, the beginning of his career was focused on achievement, but then later balance, and then later contentment. And there's a complex movement there. There's another book that I just recently read, this one, From Strength to Strength. This book tells you that the first half of your career, you're just driven and motivated, almost to the expense of the other parts of your life, devoting so much time to achieving that success, that when you hit somewhere in the mid-ages, you think, maybe I should just double down and work even harder. But then you realize that's probably not your goal anymore. You know, back when I was a resident or beginning of my career, we were taught this right here. Here's how you measure success. Just about equal parts of surgical volume, income, job title. And I jumped in full-heartedly. I worked super hard. And, you know, funny, at the time, I was so driven to achieve these job titles in the academic world, as well as my private practice world. But in the academic world, I was so proud that, hey, at 31, I was assistant professor, 37, associate, 44, full professor, chief of one of the big outside hospitals for UCLA. And that meant a lot at the time. But, you know, things change. And now if you ask me what's important, my personal pie chart looks more like this now. Yes, a little bit of income, job title, and surgical volume, but a huge measure of health, relationships with family, with friends, with loved ones, enjoyment time, happiness. And this is what's more important to me now. Now, obviously, you're going to have your own personal pie chart as well. But I think the key is to always recalibrate it. Give yourself every couple of years, ask yourself, do you still feel the same way? And do you have what you consider great balance? Let's talk about success and failure. Now, interestingly, they're both in the same direction. Both success and failure are on the path to mastery of something. Let's step back from eye surgery and think about a video game. You get a video game and you start playing it and you're having a lot of fun. But if you're super successful right away on every level, the journey is not that fun. The game's too easy. It's a little bit boring. What actually propels you is the near win. You almost completed that level. You did the level, but not quite. But then in the end, you had to do something different. You figured it out. You stuck with it. You had that tenacity to just get through it. And then it was fun. Then you get the next level. And it kept changing and changing. And what was the fun of the game? Not necessarily the little successes every level. It was the journey. And so always think of it this way. The successes, the failures, the near wins, those are all on the same path towards what is the goal, which is the journey and your path in life. At the beginning, it's very easy to measure surgical volume. Well, how many cases did I do this month or this year versus last month or last year? Easy to figure out. We can also measure income, obviously, and you can even look at our job titles and see how it progressed. I used to collect all my old business cards to see every few years, was the title changing on my card? Was I moving up in my career? And of course, listen, that's important, and I know it's important to you. You spent this many years of your life training to be an eye surgeon. You're dedicated to watching cataract surgery videos to become a better surgeon. Because yes, don't get me wrong, it is important. Your surgical volume, your job title, providing an income for your family and for yourself, these are all very important things. But you have to figure out for you at your stage in your career, what are the proportions like? Are there any other factors? And can you still achieve that while balancing it with good health, good relationships, happiness, enjoyment time, and have a good mix? And remember, this is always going to change. You're not going to have the same goal. If you look at podcast number 2, where we talked to Dick Lindstrom, Dr. Lindstrom said he makes multiple 5-year plans. He thinks about 5-year blocks in ophthalmology. What does he want to achieve in those 5 years? And then the next 5 years, we'll figure it out and reassess. And by doing that, I think that's a brilliant way. If I ask what's your 10-year plan, 10 years seems kind of long. It's hard to think that much. 1-year plan, you'll say, I don't know, about the same. But a 5-year plan is probably the sweet spot because you can then think, okay, here's what I can reasonably achieve in the next 5 years and give yourself that time. And then you can reassess. So again, reassess every few years. Ask yourself today, where I am now, where my family is, what's important for me in terms of my success pie chart. Now let's talk about my favorite, cataract surgery. Cataract surgery is not easy to learn. As we say, it takes a few years to learn and truly a lifetime to master. But when you're just starting off, there is that frustration barrier. Just trying to get up that learning curve just so you can do a reasonable case. But then the fun begins. It's the pursuit of true mastery. And that takes, again, a lifetime. If you see your videos and watch yourself operate, at the beginning, you just want to have a round rexus. Anything that's pretty round, reasonably centered, okay, so I'll take it, right? As long as it doesn't run out to the periphery of the lens equator. So then you change. You say, well, no, I want to be consistent now. I want that 360 overlap. I want a 5mm rexus. If you see some of my videos, I say to myself, I want that rexus so perfect that it looks like a perfect circle. I don't want you to be able to look at it and say, oh, you started or ended it there. I want it to be just a perfect circle. And that fun of pursuing that mastery is really very satisfying. And that's one way I measure success. So I want you to take all these things to heart and ask yourself in all aspects of your life, whether it's in the operating room, doing that cataract surgery, the big picture, where you stand financially, or how hard you're working, and also how you're balancing the important things in life, health, happiness, family, relationships. How are you doing? What is your pie chart? Please, I would love to hear your comments below. This is an important topic to me, and I think it's going to be a very important topic to you. And if you're a young doctor, just starting off in your 20s, 30s, this is really critical advice. I encourage you to go back and listen to Osher's podcast and Lindstrom's podcast. You will learn so much from their wisdom. All right, time for me to go out and ride my mountain bike, part of my success. Take care.